Hi, you've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Monday, and here we are looking at Tropical Storm Alex. And after spending nearly 24 hours over the Yucatan through midday yesterday, he has really slowed down and has taken his sweet time coming off the coast over here, and he's barely moved since yesterday evening. He's really been taking his time coming off the coast, just been hugging this area for the longest time now. And he has strengthened in a technical sense. He was a tropical depression coming off. He's now a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm, but that's only in a technical sense, and by that I mean that he came off with a pressure of 990 millibars, which is characteristic of a borderline hurricane. But the winds were slow because he was over land, and once a cyclone with that kind of pressure moves out over the water, the winds start to catch back up with the pressure, and that's what's been happening as the hurricane hunters have been finding steadily increasing winds every time they go in, and they have now upped him to 60 miles per hour again, which is nearly what he was before he made landfall. However, he doesn't look much better than he did when he came off. You can see that the center is half exposed. There's very little convection in this area at all. These cloud tops are very warm. There's not much going on. It did try to fire a nice heavy burst last night, but you know what I have a feeling is that there's some upwelling going on in this area because Alex has been sitting in very shallow water. If we go over here to the ocean heat potential, you can see that the water in this area near the coast is very cold. I mean, it's not cold at the surface, it's up to 28°C, but it's not very deep at all. And when you get a system sitting near the coast for that long, even Alex, he's a weaker storm, but still I have a feeling that he's been upwelling some cold water, and that's limiting his thunderstorm growth over here. You can see that these thunderstorms and the rain bands are going off in warmer water over here, and what he needs to do is get north of 22 north latitude 22N and west of 92 west over here to be able to get over that deeper, warmer water and really ramp up. What I think is that he will not be able to strengthen very much today. The hurricane hunters have been finding rising pressures from 989 to 991 during the course of 3 vortex messages this morning. But I think if he gets north of this line and west of 92, once he gets up in here, which will happen in about 24 hours, you might see him really start to intensify and build that core again. Also, one thing that's limiting Alex right now is some wind shear. Now, up until this point, we've been seeing a perfect upper high over the system with nice clockwise outflow all around, but this is now getting impinged upon in his northwest quadrant, and the reason is because you can see this trough over Louisiana here, this nasty little upper trough, and that is pressing down on Alex's outflow over here, and you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it real well, but these clouds are moving towards Alex's center, not away from it. If you notice, these clouds are all moving away, but these are moving toward it, and that's indicating the northwest shear. It's not too awful strong, but it is limiting the system. This trough, however, will be gone in 24 hours, and the reason is this: back here west of Texas, as this propagates eastward, this will get kicked out, and this will not be a problem in 24 hours, and the anticyclone over the top will build right back in over this area, and Alex will have nearly as perfect of an upper environment as he did when he was in the Caribbean, and that is a scary deal for intensification. Like I said, once he gets into this warm water over here to the north and west of this line, he's going to really ramp up, and he should easily become a hurricane, possibly a category 2, and even possibly a category 3 if he has enough time. He has 60 to 72 hours over water before landfall. And speaking of landfall, we have the models finally coming into better agreement on this after absolute brutal model wars for the last several days, where we had the models split everywhere from Louisiana to Tampico, Mexico, with the GFS and the European being the main fighters over here. We see that the European has shifted a little bit north. It hasn't conceded to the old GFS and Canadian solutions yet, but it has shifted north. You can see it brings Alex, strengthens it, brings it in to Mexico right here, and this is almost on top of my track from Saturday morning, which took Alex into Mexico around 25 north right here. And you notice why is that it has a weaker ridge in here, more of a weakness, allowing Alex to come further north than it previously thought, which is why I thought the European was too far south before. It still looks good now. The trough over here diving in and weakening this ridge should allow steering currents to take this north, which is actually a pretty decent feat in June, late June, going into July here, to have a trough dig in far enough to weaken the ridge and bring something out of the southern Bay of Campeche all the way north to possibly Texas over here. If we look at the rest of the models this morning, you can see that they have really come into better agreement over here on where Alex is going to go. Yesterday you had sprays all the way up in here and sprays all the way down here. This has become much better consolidated. I actually have no major changes from my Saturday morning forecast, which had Alex going into Mexico near 25 north and leaving the door open for southern Texas over here, and that's pretty much the idea I have now. Let me go over here so that you can see better. I think that Alex is going to go somewhere between my old forecast of 25 north over Mexico. I don't think it's going south of this. I really don't. I think it's going to go between my old track and between that and into Freeport, Texas. I mean, not Freeport, Rockport over here, northeast of Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi's right here. Brownsville's right here. I think between that area, between this stretch of coastline right here, is under the gun from this, and the models are coming into better agreement, so we're all going to be able to hone in on the landfall pretty decently here. It should be noted that if this comes in, it's probably either going to come in here or it's going to come in here, because getting it to come, if it passes this point of land, it's going to be very hard to get it anywhere in here. If it passes this point of land, it's probably going in here, and it'll probably miss this portion of the coastline right here, because it's hard to get a storm to come into a coastline at that angle. So South Texas residents, beware of this system. This could be a big deal. If this comes up and has 72 hours over water to get into South Texas, you guys over there could be looking at easily a Category 2, which is what I'm forecasting for landfall, and there is the possibility of even a major hurricane out of this. The National Hurricane Center is also voicing this possibility. They have it up at a strong 2, and I'm pretty much in agreement with that. It might be a little weaker if it heads into Mexico instead. Down here it'll have a little less time over water, but especially if it comes up in here with this warm water northwest of this box over here, I think you're going to see it ramp up tomorrow night. Within 24 hours it'll be over the warmer water. This trough will be gone. You'll see excellent outflow over the system like it had in the Caribbean, and this could be a big problem for the Western Gulf, and could be quite a season opener for even the United States. Even if it comes into the coast here, this is a massive storm. It's still working on it, on getting organized, but when this starts to ramp up, you're going to see that it's still pretty large, just like it was over here, and the wind field is going to be lashing South Texas even if he comes into the south. So you guys should all be ready for this. I hope everyone is ready. Even though this is a season opener, this is a lot bigger of a deal than most season openers that you see in June. We'll have to see how strong this gets in relation to other strong systems that have formed in June. But yeah, this is a nasty situation. It's also unusual to see a storm like this that will likely be strengthening at landfall. Most early season storms are getting sheared when they come into the coast because of all these troughs that like to curve them north. But you gotta remember that when this trough in here takes this north, the ridge builds right back in over the plains here and forces this west, and if it's moving west, that means there's no trough up in here shearing it. It's going to be having pretty decent upper level high over it. It may be squished a little to the northwest quadrant when it comes in, but this is not the kind of system that is going to be weakening upon landfall. You're going to see it deepening, and this is going to be a big deal when it comes ashore. So I hope everyone is prepared for this. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.